All right, guys, thank you for joining me today. So, of course, like the idiot I am, I planned the live stream for 11:30. No, sorry, noon. So I planned it for noon. I go, I wait till 12 o'clock comes around the corner. I hit live, right? I hit go live, and thank you, Cherokee, for the 5x5. I hit, and so it goes live. So now I'm sitting here and I'm going, man, there's nobody in the comment section. I'm like, all right. I said, maybe, maybe I'm just early, whatever it is. So I'm sitting here and I'm looking at it again and I'm like, wait a minute, there's nobody on, like not even no one watching. I look at it and I come to find out that I had it on private. I was like, motherfucker. So what I had done was I was fucking around with this to make sure that I didn't have that problem that happened last time when I played that video and then it ended the live stream. There was a setting that was set that way, so I had to reverse it. But to reverse it, I had to do testing. So I'm testing this out on here by putting it on private so that nobody sees these things pop up. Paladine, thank you for the 5x5. Rev Rebel, Coffee First, thank you for the 5x5. Savage Lee, thank you for the 556 by 420. Seriously? Anyway, and no, I have not fled New York yet. I have an announcement on that. It's a good thing, but it's also kicking a dick at the same time. So it's like getting kicked in your balls. And well, no, whatever. I'm not going to go down that analogy road, but yeah, I have an announcement to make. Hopefully later this week. I have to wait till a couple things pan out, but the travel trailer shit didn't pan out at all. Matter of fact, the place I was dealing with were being a little scummy. So I had to pull out of that with those people. But anyway, guys, while I have you guys on the air right now, first thing, could you do me a favor, hit the thumbs up or the thumbs down, whatever floats your boat. John said, I finally made a live stream. Well, thank you. Thank you. I try to do, on this channel, I do three a week, and then on the Angry Prepper, I only do 2. I'm thinking about doing a surprise one here and there on the Angry Prepper channel, but that would be with guests and shit like that. Like a crazy hangout kind of shit. And then the adult one, the after hours on this channel, I'm still trying to format what we're going to talk about without being complete imbeciles and children about it, because we can definitely go down children lane being fucking immature with some of the shit we'll be talking about on the Angry Truth, adult comment section. It'll call it Adult Live or some shit like that. And it's not porn, for those of you thinking that. We're just going to talk about adult subjects that you can't really... I mean, I could talk about it anytime I want, but I think that should be a separate section. And that's going to be like once or twice a month, if that. And that'll be after midnight. So for all you, I got to go to bed, it's 10 o'clock at night, you guys won't make it. So, anyway, guys, today's Wednesday midweek report. We have a couple things to talk about, but I wanted to talk about, but I can't believe I'm talking about this. And I was going to show you guys the video of this lady. I think some of you have seen it, but she rented out an entire movie theater to watch the Barbie movie. And she's doing this because she wants the world's toughest COVID restrictions to ever be implemented in this theater, at least while she's in it, while she's in the theater watching the movie. So what she wants to do is rent the theater out, which she did. The theater holds 46 people. She only wants 20 people in it. She wants everybody to wear a correct, according to her, COVID mask on their faces. It has to be an N95, a P100, and another one. She recommended another one. And those are the three that she wants people to wear. She doesn't want a bandana or a surgical mask, anything like that on their face. So all of that, she wants nobody to get up for a concession. She doesn't want anybody to scratch their nose or scratch their mouth. And if you have to scratch your nose or scratch your mouth, you have to get up, go outside of the theater, and then do it out there. And now, she said outside of the theater. I don't know if she meant the theater itself or the building, right? So the room or the building. That wasn't clarified. So she's sitting there in the beginning of the video talking about how she wants to see the Barbie movie, and she goes, even though it's a white feminist movie. I'm like, you can't be that much of a liberal to even like follow it up with that, statement. Oh, it's a white liberal movie, but I want to see it anyway. So basically, the movie theater is for, I guess, people who have comorbidities, or she called them medically fragile people who are going to see this movie. She's giving them a place to watch this. But meanwhile, guys, it's like you're sitting in a movie theater and it's a Hitler-esque rules and regulation. Because imagine sitting there and you have to scratch your nose, but you got to get up and leave the theater to do so. You can't get any popcorn. You can't drink any soda because she doesn't want anybody to take their mask off. If you have kids, your kids have to wear a mask 2 hours straight without taking it off. So it was the worst. I've never seen. I mean, she went harder than the CDC, WHO, and all of them together, right? She's just, and the craziness, guys, is the things they're putting on their faces do not work, and it's been proven not to work. And yet here she is, 3 years later, making these fucking unethical request, because you're telling people to do something that doesn't work. Then to boot, you're pretty much telling them to have no fun. They can't, I'm pretty sure they can't laugh, yell, or scream, or anything. So they're sitting there being fucking weirdos, just sitting there straight going, Barbie was a good movie. That's it, right? Imagine you can't have concessions. So she's been, I had the video, I was gonna upload it to here to show you guys, but her voice is so annoying. Her whole ideology was annoying. I'm just like, lady, you have 8 comorbidities, fat being one of them, the major one, and you're worried about this. And 3 years later, you made it this far into the bullshit. Now you're worried about fucking. It was stupid. It was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Anyway, I wish I could have showed you guys the video, but I watched it and I was annoyed halfway through it. I was like, no, I'm not going to subject you people to it. But you can find it on, I might put part of it on the Angry Truth Shorts, or the Angry Truth Instagram short, or Reels rather. I might put it on there just to show you some of the shit she was saying, because it was fucking insane. It was insanity, man. Whatever, it was insanity. But she rented out a theater, and charging $20 a head. But she said she's not taking any extra. She's not making any money. Good for her and her honesty. So whatever. All right. So enough of that bullshit. People, guys, are going to keep going down this road of pretending that all of the restrictions and all of the regulations put in for Mr. 19 actually work. That's the crazy shit. And it hasn't. Not one regulation had worked for any of us. Everybody tried the 6 feet, the mask, all of that shit didn't work. None of it. Nonetheless, these people are still carrying on as if it does. I guess they have their fucking head up their asses. So, let's talk about something a tad bit more, not worrisome, because I sort of knew they were going to do this, but it's unclear to me as to how bad this is going to get. So now, a woman fired after company uses keystroke technology to monitor her work from home. So a major insurance company used keystroke technology on an employee's work laptop to test whether she was working her designated hours, and it ended terribly for her. Now, I know that work computers, guys, if your job is going to give you a work computer, why would you use that for anything else? Right? Why would you sit there and start looking up different shit? Now, I know people, for the most part, they're not looking up, anything crazy. They might be looking up vacation spots and things of that nature, but still. Interestingly enough, the people, and so technically, they have the right to spy on you because you're using their laptop, but they're using your internet to do so. So this is where it becomes worrisome because they're hacking their computer, or they're hacking their computer through your technology, through your ownership of the internet, right? Your usage, which I find to be bullshit. That's the problem I find. Now, I wouldn't want to use their computer, though my wife does use a job computer. She has to use a job computer for the job she does. So that makes sense. But if you're doing insurance, I'm pretty sure you can use your own computer, but then they can't spy on you. You don't want them spying on you because it's annoying. And now they use the keystroke technology at job places, guys, with actual computers on desks. They've been doing that for years. So this is not like new technology. This shit's really old, by the way. It's not anything new. But the Fair Work Commission has rejected an unfair dismissal application brought by former Insurance Australian Group, of course, consultant Susie Chekho, finding she was fired for a valid reason of misconduct. So even her place in Australia, the Fair Work Commission rejected her application. According to the Commission's published findings, Chekho was responsible for creating insurance documents, meeting regulatory timelines, and monitoring work-from-home compliance, among other significant roles. Ironically, her own work-from-home performance marked the end of her 18-year career with the company. That's interesting. According to the FWC findings, Chekho was fired on February 20th for missing deadlines and meetings, being absent and uncontractable, and failing to compete with a task which caused the industry regulatory to fine the IAG. Now, if that's the case, then fine, let her go. But the spying on her computer through, again, her internet, I think that's bullshit. A month later, Chekho claimed that the FWC, her employer, had a premeditated plan to remove her from business and that she was targeted due to her mental health issues. So she's a psych patient on top of that. According to the online finding, Chekho received a formal warning back in November of 2022 about her output and was put on a performance improvement plan, and then in January, they let her go. Or February, they let her go. So they gave this lady fucking 2 months to hang herself, and she continued to do so. She didn't know about the keystroke technology. But again, keystroke technology, guys, hacking into your web server is a problem because you're using the internet. That means they're going through your server to attach to their computer to look at whatever they need to look at. I find that to be a problem because what's stopping them from looking at your personal computer as well? Right? Though right now the focus is on their work computer, that's not stopping a company from looking at your personal computer, your kid's personal computer, your husband's or your wife's personal computer. That's a fucking problem. And that's a problem that needs to be addressed. Savage Lee, I could see that being an issue. I could see that becoming a thing. Internet usage will be work only while on company dime. Yeah, but that means Savage Lee. That means the company has to pay for part or reimburse you for the time you're using your internet on their dime then, right? So they have to actually sit there and go, well, if we're going to make it a work only internet thing on your dime, that means they have to pay you for that internet usage during the hours of 9 to 5, right? Or 8 to 4, whatever it is you work. So, interestingly enough, guys, it's going to enter a realm where if you are, and listen, right now, If you're using your internet to work from home, the companies should be paying you so. They want you to work from home in a lot of cases, then they should be paying your internet from the hours of 9 to 5. Then there goes, because now what they're doing, guys, is they're trying to take rights away from you while you're working from home. If I want to, let's say, jump off my personal computer, jump off my work computer and go on my personal computer and look shit up, which I would have two computers open. I wouldn't look up traveling to Greece on my work computer. I would turn over to my personal laptop, which would be right here, right? And I would, do my work from here and then go, oh, you know what, let me look up such and such, and then go over to my Now, if they're looking at me and they're seeing that I'm on my personal computer, how would they know unless they're actually hacking into my internet? That's a fucking problem. And for them to start taking rights and go, well, we also see that you're on your personal computer at the same time. Well, who the fuck are you to do this? And this is what happens with work from home, guys. Working from home is going to turn into your home, your apartment, being classified as a workplace, and being classified as they can do what they want to do and monitor how they want to monitor during the hours of 9 to 5, which this is going to be a problem down the line. I don't see it happening yet. I see it happening in a lifetime. But then what happens, guys, after 9 to 5? They automatically log off and then they don't look at what you're doing on your personal computer anymore? Bullshit. Once you extend this power to corporations, guys, they will continue to overstep. Working from home is a bad idea. At first it was a good idea. Now it's a bad idea because they're going to be overreaching as much as they possibly can. Anyway, back to what I was going to talk about next. A New York City cancer doctor, Crystal Cassetta, I'm pretty sure I said that wrong, she shot herself and her 4-month-old baby daughter before, right? So, and then, she killed the daughter, she killed herself. Anyway, I read this article 2 days ago, and I looked at this and I said, oh, postpartum depression, 4-month-old daughter. Here's the problem. Most doctors identify postpartum depression almost immediately, and they go on medications and they do a lot of things to curve that problem. I told you guys in a couple of other live streams that suicide rate is up because of a certain thing that was introduced. So, someone said, Marcy C said she did not. I'm going to entertain that theory too. So, keep your panties on. So, suicide rates have gone up since the introduction of the arm ticket. And we've been seeing a lot of people off themselves out of nowhere. Now, being that, guys, she's also a cancer doctor, I did entertain one idea. It was a fleeting thought that she was working on a cancer cure, and this is what happened. Though, she did have the cops called to her house 2 times prior to her ending her life and her daughter's life. But I've known doctors who suffered from postpartum depression, female doctors obviously, who identified the problem quickly and went and got help immediately. That's what most doctors do. The fact that she did this, and everybody's surprised. I mean, everybody in her field is surprised. Every article I read, every person who knows her is floored by this. And I find that to be the red flag that piqued my interest more about this case. Because, again, if you look at suicide rates and you look at the numbers that went up, initially they will blame lockdown for that reason of it going up. But now we are 2 years away from lockdown, and the rates are still going up. And people are still getting what? The arm ticket. Now, sources told CBS News that investigators are eyeing a possibility of mental health conditions, including severe postpartum psychosis, in the heartbreaking murder-suicide that happened Saturday. So today is Wednesday. I heard about it Sunday. So more than 2 days ago, I've been following this. Now Sunday, the article was released. I automatically thought postpartum after I saw the 4-month-old. But then I started thinking the other thing. What if it was the arm ticket that induced this? She was probably going to have postpartum anyway. I think what the arm ticket does is it increases a lot of problems in people. A lot of psychosis, cancers, and ailments. It brings it to the forefront a lot faster and a lot quicker. But again, that's another road we're going to go down in another video a little further down the road when we get more proof that this is connected. Medical professionals and mental health activists say the condition is believed to impact at least 20% of all new moms. Dr. Karen Daniels, a psychiatrist at Westchester Medical Center, said the condition really does not discriminate based on education or age or how badly a woman wants a baby or how bad she wants to be a mom. Now, she is right about that. It doesn't discriminate, but education does play a role because there are women, again, who identify this problem and immediately seek help. They don't wait till it gets worse, and they do not wait till they start. Because to think about harming your kids or your child, once that thought process enters a lot of mothers, they go to get help. And they don't sit there and try to tough through it, especially a doctor who was entertaining this thought before. Now, the cops being called to her home 2 times prior, the cops being called her home 2 times prior is the problem. And that's where you think, all right, maybe it is just postpartum. Listen, it could be simple. It can be just postpartum. I don't want to sit there and, blame this all on the arm ticket. It could be postpartum depression. I mean, it is a thing. And that's been a thing before Mr. 19. But I also like to entertain the other shit. It could have been the shot that induced it and made it happen quicker. So instead of her identifying it and going, shit, I feel like harming my child, I can't do this, let me do X, Y, and Z, she jumped from point A to point Z like that and did what she did. Anyway, guys, moving right along, next article we're going to talk about is uptick in Mr. 19 here in New York by 55%. In May, Mr. 19 emergency was officially declared over, but the virus is still a significant concern according to some asshole in the medical community. The latest data from New York State Department of Health released August 2nd showed that the Mr. 19 cases spiked by 55% since the prior week, with an average of 824 reported cases per day across the state, and hospital admissions are up by 22. Now, guys, remember hospital admissions. If you go to the hospital now and you have Mr. 19, if you're there longer than an hour or two, they count that as an admission now. Where when you used to get a bed, if you were getting a bed, they used to tell you you're being admitted for overnight observations. That's what being admitted was when you were staying overnight. Now, being admitted is you walk through the hospital door and you say you have Mr. 19, they're admitting you, they're counting you as an admission, right? So before, an overnight was counted as an admission. Now just visiting is counted as an admission so that they can get their admission numbers up to make it look like it's way more dangerous. Meanwhile, a lot of people were coming in there and getting turned away. They were like, oh, doc, I feel like shit. Yeah, you have Mr. 19. Go fucking back home, drink some soup, stop being a bitch, right? That's how it should have been. But instead, they're like, okay, let's drag this out. Let's get our admissions number up. And then there you go. So, yeah, they're starting this bullshit again. They're starting to tell people to put the face coverings back on because they're like, well, since the numbers are up, we have to make sure people are safe. Put those masks back on your face. And I'm like, come on. And you're seeing more and more people put it on their face. And then come fall and winter, you're going to see almost everybody have this shit on their face. Now, the rise of Mr. 19 case isn't limited to New York. The CDC recorded 8,000 U.S. hospital admissions for Mr. 19 in the week ending in July 22nd, and an increase in 12% the week before. That's an increase, of 12% from the week before. My fault. Now, however, Dr. Ashwani Vasan, the NYC Health Commissioner, he's a fucking asshole, by the way. The good news is that we are not seeing anything in the virus that suggests it is more lethal or transmittable. Who gives a shit? We're going to be living with this for the rest of our lives, and somehow people feel like, oh, we have to report every new thing that happened. There's a new variant out there, guys. It's called EG5. They're reporting this. They call it ERIS or EG5. Why? They say it's a new dominant strain. It's a new variant. It's a new dominant strain, and they're seeing that in 17% of the new cases. Who gives a shit? Why are we naming it so many variants and so many strains? That's like naming the common cold or the flu. The flu has a new variant every year it comes out. So does the common cold. You don't see them doing this with the common cold or the flu. They're doing it with Mr. 19. They're like, oh, well, we got a new variant, and we're going to call it EG111 Part 2. Who gives a fuck? At this point, it doesn't matter what variant it is. The people who are affected by it are going to be the people affected by it. I don't understand the nonsense behind it, but whatever. People are carrying on and acting like fucking, bitches. So, moving right along, because they're going to have a new variant every other month now. 2 months ago, they had a new variant. I forgot what the fuck they called it. I wrote it. I was going to do a thing on it. I'm like, I'm not doing variant updates anymore. Fuck them. Any new Mr. 19 that forms, fine. So be it. We'll be okay. Our dicks won't fall off and our nipples won't itch. It'll be a fucking thing. So, moving right along, a lighter subject. Not a lighter subject, but I found this to be an intriguing subject. Colombian drug lord, more prolific than Pablo Escobar, was sentenced to 45 years in prison and was ordered to pay $216 million to who? I don't know yet. Colombian drug lord who ran a ruthless international cocaine peddling operation was sentenced to 45 years in federal prison Tuesday. The judge labeled him a dealer more prolific than Pablo Escobar, meaning he made way more money than Pablo Escobar and probably had way bigger problems hiding his money or putting his money into places. Dario Antonio Uscado David, 51, was ordered to pay $216 million in forfeiture after pleading guilty in January to running a decade of violence, the clan Delgado cartel, and paramilitary group that smuggled tons of cocaine into the U.S. I saw the DEA in a picture with him in cuffs, so I guess the DEA has their hand on him, but they also had the Colombian version of a DEA, whatever the fuck they're called. There has been many drug dealers who were more prolific than Pablo Escobar, including your client, the Brooklyn federal judge Dario Irizarry noted, referring to the infamous Colombian drug lord and narco-terrorist, never heard that one before she handed down the sentence. So they got a Spanish judge to, very interesting, but anyway, his defense attorney had sorted a 25-year term, but federal prosecutors argued that he could be sentenced to 45 years behind bar, noting that the sheer amount of cocaine he trafficked to the United States and the cold-blooded killing he ordered during his reign. Very good. Asago David put bounties on heads of every police officer in the country, including one for $70,000 on the head of the police canine. No shit. That was used in drug busts. So he put $70,000 on a fucking police canine drug dog. That's crazy. He also once had an informant buried alive before beheading him. Okay. Am I reading that right? He also had an informant buried alive before beheading him. How do you bury somebody alive and then behead him? Did he bury him alive, waited till he died, and then beheaded him? That's a lot. That's a lot of work. That means you dug a hole, threw the dude in there, buried him, then cut his head off. Then dug him up and then cut his head off. That's a lot of work, man. That is seriously a lot of fucking work. No, thank you. Anyway, he's the most dangerous terrorist and notorious narcotic trafficker in Colombia since Pablo Escobar. Very interesting. I found that to be an interesting case. What I don't like is that Siri's always listening. But yeah, that's some interesting shit. Dug him up, I guess. Yeah. Kit Kat, I was thinking I buried him from the neck up. But then you wouldn't bury him alive. Oh, maybe, yeah. Yeah. Bury him up to his neck so that he can't move his arms, and then cut his head off with a chainsaw. With a dull-bladed chainsaw. Because that'll hurt even... I mean, a chainsaw just hurts in general. But a dull blade, that's just even sticking him even more. Holy shit. That's why that's interesting. I mean, imagine just... Anyway, I've seen a lot of those cartel videos. A lot of cartel videos. And the way they kill people, woof. Holy shit, man. They don't fuck around. And it's one thing to be like, you know, in the movies, they come into your home, they put one in your head. You would almost, not even almost, you would actually want that than the way they do it in the videos. The way they kill people in the videos was like the way they did in Scarface, but 1,000 times worse. You know? Have you take an acid bath before they cut you? Fuck. I mean, yo, some of the shit I've seen, I'm like, yo, that's crazy. That's craziness that they do. Anyway, that was that. So, guys, that was it for today, or a lawnmower. Yeah, I guess. Man. Either way, man, it sucks. The way the cartel does it, it's you. I would fight tooth and nail to be killed on the spot before having the cartel do any of that shit to me. I'm out on that shit. I'm out on fucking lighter fluid or gasoline and the tire thing. I'm out on fucking being hung and burned alive at the same time. I'm out on being buried alive and burned at the same time. Right? That's where you drop a fucking like a flare in a coffin, and then you bury them alive, so it has enough room in there to use up the oxygen to burn you while you're... Anyway, sorry. So yeah, I'm out on all that shit. I'm fighting tooth and nail. You're killing me on the spot. We're not playing this game of let's drag them to this quiet area and then kill them. No, thank you. No, thank you. Oh, also, a pedo ring that was busted. I wanted to talk about that. I completely forgot about that. A pedo ring that was recently busted because 2 FBI agents were killed while they were operating undercover. And now, I read this story, guys, 2 days ago or 3 days ago, maybe 4 now, and I forgot where I read it. Like maybe it was Twitter. I saw this story. So I see this story, and right, it was an Australian pedo ring busted in the wake of the killing of 2 FBI agents. Now, the FBI agents were killed in 2021. The ring was busted recently. So more than a dozen men were charged with sex crimes in Australia in the wake of U.S. FBI investigation that proved fatal to 2 FBI agents. Officials announced Tuesday 19 men had been arrested, charged with the combined 138 offenses in connection to an international pedophile ring. We alleged that these men were members of a technological, sophisticated online child abuse network that was operating across the country. We are proud of our long-standing relationship with the Australian Federal Police, resulting in 19 arrests. Now, 19, guys, is nothing. It's a drop in the bucket. There are hundreds of thousands of people involved in this. Not thousands, maybe millions, but definitely hundreds of thousands. So 19 is a drop in a bucket. Though they were in charge of this ring, this is one ring that's down. Now, for the amount of time, guys, that they were investigating this, that means they have connections with other rings around the world, right? You don't do one without the other. So it's virtually impossible, unless this ring was solely isolated in Australia. There is that possibility. 2 of the suspects had already been convicted and sentenced. Those convicted are sentenced to approximately 15 years. Just 15 years, guys. You're in charge of a big pedo ring with missing kids, hundreds of missing kids, and you only get 15 years? And 5 years in South Wales. So they're going to be doing 20 years. So they're doing 15 years in Australian Capital Territory and 5 years in New South Wales. 13 children were rescued in the operation, but the circumstances of the victim have not been made public. The Australian investigations began after the fatal shootout between FBI agents and an American suspect tied to the criminal group. The FBI agents Danielle Afflin and Laura Scheisen, I can't pronounce her name, Laura Scheichenberg, were killed in 2021 while attempting to execute a search warrant for child pornography in Florida. They weren't killed there. They were killed here in Florida. A suspect, David Lee Hubbard, 55, fired a rifle through the door, killing the pair. No shit. Wounding 3 others, and then turned the gun on himself. So this is in Florida of 2021. Now, I looked at the pictures of these FBI agents, and I'm going to make an insensitive comment, but these FBI agents look awfully Europeanish, if you know what I mean. So FBI agent Daniel Affin looked almost Russian to me. And so did the female. The female also looked very Europeanish. And Europeanish is not a word, by the way. But anyway, I don't know. I thought about it. I was like, this happened in 2021. They just made the arrest of these people 2 years later, connecting the ring. But when I looked at the picture of these guys, I didn't hear about this killing until now. And these people, they both just look very Russian. But anyway, that's just my conspiracy theory kicking in. Cover my ears. But anyway, guys, so this ring that was busted only rescued 13 kids and 19 men were arrested. We need more and we need to do better. Is this a start? No, this is not even a drop in the fucking bucket, man. Yes, it brought 13 kids back home, which is good. That's always good. But there are thousands, tens of thousands of kids, hundreds of thousands of kids missing. Now, out of those hundreds or tens of thousands of kids that are missing, I'm going to probably say half those kids are dead, gone, or never going to come back, or never going to return to home. But we can definitely do better than 13 kids. Anyway, with that being said, guys, I'm going to go off the air now. Do me a favor, on your way out, hit the thumbs up or the thumbs down, whatever floats your boat. It is now Europeanish. Yeah, well, sorry about that. So, guys, I will see you guys tomorrow for the doubleheader. Europeanus. You can also go with that, Pete, if it makes you happy. But I will see you guys tomorrow for the doubleheader. Thank you for the support. Thank you for dealing with my bullshit. Thank you for coming on at 12:30 to listen to my ranting and bullshit. So I will see you guys tomorrow for the doubleheader. Other than that, if I don't have a good weekend. See you guys next week, if anything, and I'll keep you guys posted on the new bullshit that's around the corner because every day something new is happening.